So yes, you can close your eyes, you can switch off your cameras if you want, and you can just pay attention to your breathing. Feel your body. And you collect yourself in an empty center. So we are going to say something about the disorders of the soul or of the spirit. For which people usually see the helper. Why do people come to the helper? Why do they end up seeing a helper? Usually because a person is cut off from somewhere else. And as soon as people are cut off from one parent or both, they lose energy and strength. They are weakened and they develop symptoms and have all sorts of problems. So the solution then is really quite simple too. One restores the connection to what was separated. And how is that possible? And what are the requirements of the helper in this to succeed with this? The first thing is that helpers themselves are in a connection with their parents and their ancestors, and also with their fate and their guilt and their death. So now in your bodies, you feel your parents. So there's nothing in us which didn't come from our parents initially. We actually are our parents. So we let ourselves become wide inside until we feel both parents in us as a whole. And that is as they really are or they really were, without any wish that they should have been different. And in the same way, you also sense your grandparents and your great-grandparents. and all who belonged to the family, also those who died early. We can feel their presence in our body. And we agree to them all and to ourselves in our body. We snuggle up to them. We let them embrace us and we become one of them. Let yourself feel that. In this movement and in this way, we experience our special fate as it comes to us from our parents and from our ancestors, and also as it comes from our own actions and our own guilt. And we agree to this fate. Yes, this is my fate. I agree to it. Then there is something else that comes from our soul. Because beyond our parents and ancestors, we are in connection with something greater that takes us and them into service. And from this something greater, each one of us receives a special destiny and a task. And from this force also comes the power to take up the challenge. And agreeing to it, we become free, without diversion through superficial wishes, because we are filled with something greater. Then we look perhaps at a client or person who comes to us and needs help. And when we look at her, we see and sense her parents at the same time, as they are or were, and we agree to them with respect and love. Then we look at her grandparents and great-grandparents and all her ancestors, all those who died young. In her, they become present for us, and we bow to them. We ask for their support. And then it is not us who begin to take care of her or who help her. Her ancestors support us, and beyond that, that greater force in which we all partake, which we are all part of. We might even see and recognize her calling and her task and her fate. And we agree. And we sense how we are connected to her and also separated at the same time. So we become cautious so that whatever we do remains in accordance with her family, with her fate, perhaps even with her death. You stay a while longer with this process, and then when you are ready, you come back to the group slowly. And then you can sense how, if you approach someone or if they approach you for help, how you are more strong if you approach it from this space, how you are safe, how you also have much less responsibility. And then you can go very far, or as far as you need to, without fear. And without interfering with person's destiny. Because if you work in this way, then you can be sure that you will go only as far as the person's destiny and the whole system allows you to. So we can see and feel and sense how this attitude or how these movements in the soul, how that strengthens us. We can experience how we all went into a certain space. And how these movements of the soul, which were initiated by the sentences, how that strengthened us. And also how it calmed us. So in a sense, it's very relaxing to be in our empty center. And how do we get there? We get there particularly how it was described in this process or a meditation, by this process of accepting everything the way it is, taking it all into our body. Accepting our fate. And then also from that space, how it is easy, I would say, to meet with another person in need. And how then we don't have to be fearful. Oh, will I know what to do? Oh, can I help her? What do I need to do? Then we don't have that worry. If we make sure that we are still in our empty center, and we said we arrived to this emptiness through accepting everything the way it is. So if we meet the person from that space, from that empty center, we meet that person's empty center, or that person's essence. And how do we achieve that? Well, what we did in this meditation, we include her parents and ancestors and her fate with respect. And we don't try to change anything. We don't try to help anyone. We don't assume responsibility, which is not ours. So we are also much more humble in this helping role. And much safer. And it is much easier, basically, to do it from that space. And it is only from that space, when with such attitude, that you can really assist someone with very serious issues. So that's how we help. And that's how we can be useful to others. So a sheer presence from this empty space, which is actually quite full. Yeah, and then there are not many words left when we are in that space, and that's good. That is a sign that we have reached that space, because there's not many words in it, and there is also no separateness, and there is stillness. So, okay, I just read us one poem and then we're going to have a break. And the poem is called Stillness. In the movement of life, body, mind, and energy, we all become individuals of separate entity and existence. All life, not just human, finds separateness only in movement. So all life finds separateness only in movement. But in stillness, there is oneness. The stillness, the core, the movement, just the surface. Joyful expression of the surface is joyful only when rooted in the stillness of the core of life. Will we become still only with death, or know the beauty of stillness of the core life when alive? So will we become still only with death, or know the beauty of stillness of the core of life when still alive?